The Arcturian princess's demand echoes through the United Nations headquarters, sending shockwaves across the assembly. We require immediate inspection of human male genitalia for mating compatibility assessment, Princess Tina declares, her iridescent blue skin shimmering under the harsh lights. Chaos erupts in the Grand Hall. Diplomats exchange bewildered glances, while UN officials huddle in frantic discussion. The stakes couldn't be higher. Earth's access to faster-than-light travel technology hangs in the balance, a key that could unlock humanity's expansion into the stars. Wayne Roberts, a 28-year-old Marine Corps veteran turned UN security officer, stands rigid at his post. He watches as Secretary General Amina Khalil approaches, her face a mask of determination. "Officer Roberts, your country needs you," she says, her voice low and urgent. "We need a volunteer for this inspection. The future of Earth-Arcturian relations depends on it." Wayne's mind reels. He opens his mouth to protest, but the weight of responsibility silences him. With a curt nod, he accepts. Moments later, Wayne finds himself whisked away to a sterile medical facility within the UN complex. Scientists in hazmat suits swarm around him, prepping him for decontamination. Through a glass partition, he sees Princess Tina and her sisters observing with alien intensity. The 7-foot-tall Arcturian royals tower over the human medical staff. Their large almond-shaped eyes blink in unison as they watch Wayne being scrubbed and sterilized. The process is thorough, bordering on invasive, but Wayne endures it stoically. Outside the facility, news of the impending inspection spreads like wildfire. Protests erupt in major cities worldwide. Religious leaders denounce the act as sacrilege, while others hail it as a necessary step for human advancement. Social media explodes with memes and heated debates. In research centers across the globe, scientists scramble to gather data on Arcturian physiology and cultural practices. They hope to glean insights that might give humanity an edge in future negotiations. The pressure mounts as the moment of truth approaches. Wayne, now sealed in an isolated chamber with Princess Tina and her sisters, feels the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. The Arcturians' advanced technology could catapult Earth into a new era of interstellar exploration and colonization. It all hinges on this unprecedented encounter. Princess Tina steps forward, her movements fluid and alien. "We shall commence the inspection," she announces, her voice carrying an otherworldly lilt. "The compatibility of our species rests upon this moment." Wayne takes a deep breath, steeling himself for what's to come. He knows that his next actions could shape the course of human history and determine humanity's place in the vast, unknown galaxy. The fate of 2 worlds now rests in his hands, and other parts. Wayne's heart thundered in his chest as the door to the isolated chamber hissed shut behind him. Princess Tina and her sisters loomed before him, their iridescent blue skin shimmering under the harsh lights. The Marine's training kicked in, steadying his nerves as he faced this unprecedented encounter. "We shall commence the inspection," Princess Tina repeated, her voice carrying an otherworldly lilt. She approached Wayne, her movements fluid and alien, wielding what appeared to be an advanced scanning device. As the princesses began their examination, Wayne was struck by their ethereal beauty. Their large almond-shaped eyes blinked in unison, focused intently on their task. The scanner hummed softly as it passed over Wayne's body, paying particular attention to his reproductive organs. Suddenly, Wayne felt an unexpected stirring. His body reacted involuntarily to the alien's proximity and touch, causing a visible physical response. He flushed with embarrassment, but the Arcturians seemed more intrigued than offended. Princess Tina tilted her head, her eyes widening with fascination. "Fascinating," she murmured. "The human male exhibits autonomous physiological responses to external stimuli." Without warning, she reached out and gently touched Wayne's arm. A jolt of electricity seemed to course through Wayne's body at her touch. He gasped, his skin tingling where her fingers had made contact. The princess's eyes locked with his, a spark of mutual attraction igniting between them. Unbeknownst to the chamber's occupants, the privacy protocols had malfunctioned. Screens throughout the UN complex flickered to life, broadcasting the intimate examination to shock diplomats, scientists, and world leaders. In a nearby laboratory, Dr. Emily Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stared at her monitor in disbelief. "This is incredible," she breathed, furiously taking notes as data streamed in from the chamber. "The potential for advancing our understanding of Arcturian biology is unprecedented." Back in the chamber, Princess Tina had moved closer to Wayne, her tall form towering over him. "Your species is intriguing," she said, her voice low and melodious. "I wish to conduct a more thorough examination." Without waiting for a response, she placed her hands on Wayne's chest. The contact sent waves of sensation through his body, unlike anything he had ever experienced. Wayne's breath caught in his throat as the princess's fingers traced patterns on his skin, her touch both alien and electrifying. Their eyes met again, and something unspoken passed between them. In a moment of impulse that would reshape interstellar relations, Princess Tina leaned down and pressed her lips to Wayne's. The kiss was unlike any earthly embrace. It was cool and tingling, sending shockwaves through Wayne's system. He found himself responding, caught up in the intensity of the moment. As they parted, Wayne saw a new light in the princess's eyes. "You are not merely compatible," she declared, her voice husky. "You are exemplary. I desire further cultural exchange with you, Wayne Roberts of Earth." Outside the chamber, chaos erupted. The broadcast of the intimate encounter had sent shockwaves through both human and Arcturian delegations. Diplomats argued furiously, scientists debated the implications, and religious leaders called for immediate action. In the UN Security Hub, alarms blared to life. Chief Marcus Blackwood's face paled as he received urgent reports. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "we've detected movement from the anti-alien coalition. They're mobilizing for an attack on the complex." Blackwood sprang into action, barking orders to his team. "Lock down the perimeter. I want all available units on high alert. We cannot let them near the Arcturian delegation." As security forces scrambled to defend against the impending threat, Princess Tina and Wayne remained oblivious in their private bubble. The princess had begun sharing intimate details about Arcturian physiology and culture, revelations that had never before been entrusted to an outsider. "Our species is not so different at our core," she explained, her fingers intertwined with Wayne's. "We too seek connection, understanding, and growth. Perhaps together, we can bridge the gap between our worlds." Wayne listened, enthralled by her words and the depth of trust she was placing in him. He felt the weight of this moment, knowing that their connection could be the key to a new era of human-Arcturian relations. Their intimate exchange was abruptly interrupted as the chamber door burst open. Security Chief Blackwood rushed in, his face etched with urgency. "Officer Roberts, Your Highnesses, we need to evacuate immediately. There's an imminent threat to your safety." The spell broken, Wayne's military instincts kicked into high gear. He positioned himself protectively in front of Princess Tina and her sisters, his body tense and ready for action. "What's the situation, Chief?" Wayne demanded, his mind racing through possible escape routes and defensive strategies. "Anti-alien coalition," Blackwood replied grimly. "They're attempting to breach the complex. We need to get the Arcturian royalty to a secure location now." Princess Tina's eyes narrowed, a fierce grit evident in her stance. "We will not cower in the face of such ignorance," she declared. "Wayne, will you stand with us?" As Wayne nodded his assent, the sound of distant explosions echoed through the complex. The group moved swiftly towards the exit, the future of two worlds hanging in the balance as they prepared to face the unknown threat that awaited them. The distant explosions grew louder as Wayne, Princess Tina, and her sisters raced through the winding corridors of the UN complex. Security Chief Marcus Blackwood fell into step beside them, his face grim with tenacity. "This way," Blackwood barked, gesturing toward a reinforced door. "We have a secure bunker that should keep you safe until we neutralize the threat." As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a squad of armed militants. Their black tactical gear bore the insignia of the anti-alien coalition, a fringe group vehemently opposed to extraterrestrial contact. "Stop right there," the lead militant shouted, raising his weapon. Without hesitation, Wayne sprang into action. His Marine Corps training kicked in as he closed the distance, disarming the first attacker with a swift series of strikes. To his surprise, Princess Tina moved with incredible speed and grace, her tall form a blur of motion as she engaged two more militants. Wayne ducked under a wild swing, countering with a powerful uppercut that sent his opponent crumpling to the floor. He turned to see Princess Tina executing a move that defied human physiology, her limbs bending at impossible angles to incapacitate her attackers. Their eyes met briefly in the chaos, a moment of mutual respect and admiration passing between them. Together, they made short work of the remaining militants, leaving a pile of unconscious bodies in their wake. As the dust settled, a pained cry pierced the air. One of Tina's sisters clutched her side, a patch of darker blue spreading across her iridescent skin. "She's hurt," Tina said, her voice tight with concern. "We need medical assistance immediately." Blackwood nodded, quickly assessing their surroundings. "There's a medical bay nearby. Follow me." They half-carried the injured Arcturian princess down the hall, bursting through the doors of the medical bay. Inside, Dr. Emily Chen looked up from her workstation, her eyes widening in shock at the sudden intrusion. "Dr. Chen," Wayne said, recognizing the xenobiologist, "we need your help. The princess is injured." Chen sprang into action, her initial surprise giving way to professional focus. "Get her on the table," she instructed, grabbing a nearby scanner. As Chen worked to treat the alien royalty, Wayne and Princess Tina took up defensive positions near the entrance. The adrenaline from their recent fight still coursed through their veins, heightening their awareness of each other's presence. Tina's large, almond-shaped eyes met Wayne's, and he felt a jolt of electricity pass between them. The intimacy they had shared earlier in the examination chamber seemed to pulse with renewed intensity, amplified by the danger surrounding them. Their silent exchange was interrupted by Blackwood's urgent voice. "We've got a situation," he said, his hand pressed to his earpiece. "The anti-alien coalition has taken control of the main conference room. They're holding Earth's diplomats hostage." Princess Tina's brow furrowed, her alien features contorting with concern. "This is most troubling," she said. "We must find a way to persistence this conflict swiftly." She paused, seeming to wrestle with an internal dilemma before continuing. "There is something you must know about the faster-than-light travel technology I promised your people," she said, her voice low. "It is not a separate device, but an ability integrated into our very biology." Wayne's eyes widened at this revelation. "You mean you can travel faster than light naturally?" he asked, incredulous. Tina nodded. "Yes, but it requires a specific biological process to activate. With the proper connection, we could potentially transport ourselves directly to the conference room and end this hostage situation." Dr. Chen, who had been listening while treating the injured princess, spoke up. "What kind of connection are we talking about here?" "It requires an intense physical and emotional bond between an Arcturian and a compatible partner," Tina explained. "It has never been attempted with a human before." Chen's face paled. "The risk could be enormous," she warned. "We have no idea how human biology would react to such a process. It could result in cellular damage, genetic alterations, or worse." Wayne stepped forward, his teeth gritted with perseverance. "I'll do it," he said. "If it's our best chance to save those hostages and secure peace between our people, I'm willing to take the risk." Tina's eyes softened as she regarded him. "You are brave, Wayne Roberts of Earth," she said. "But are you certain?" Wayne nodded, his heart racing with a mixture of fear and anticipation. "I'm sure." As alarms continued to blare throughout the complex, Wayne and Princess Tina prepared for their unprecedented fusion. Dr. Chen monitored their vitals, her face etched with concern, while Blackwood fortified their position against potential attacks. Wayne and Tina stood facing each other, their bodies mere inches apart. As they began to establish the deep connection necessary for the biological FTL activation, a soft glow emanated from Tina's skin, gradually enveloping them both. Wayne gasped as he felt an otherworldly energy coursing through his body. His cells seemed to vibrate at a frequency beyond normal human perception. Tina's large eyes bore into his, and he felt as if he were falling into their depths, losing himself in the vastness of space and time. Their physical forms began to blur at the edges, the boundaries between human and Arcturian becoming indistinct. The room around them seemed to warp and shift, reality itself bending to the will of their combined energy. As the process intensified, Wayne's mind expanded, touching the edges of Tina's consciousness. He saw flashes of alien worlds, felt the pull of distant stars, and understood for a brief moment the true nature of the universe. The glow surrounding them pulsed brighter, filling the medical bay with an unearthly light. Dr. Chen shielded her eyes, her instruments going haywire as they attempted to measure the impossible. In that moment, suspended between heartbeats, Wayne and Princess Tina prepared to make the leap that would determine the fate of two worlds. The hostage situation, the future of human-Arcturian relations, and the very fabric of space-time hung in the balance as they embraced the unknown together. The energy surrounding Wayne and Princess Tina intensified, their forms becoming increasingly indistinct as the biological FTL activation reached its zenith. Dr. Chen's instruments sparked and fizzled, unable to process the unprecedented readings. The air in the medical bay crackled with an otherworldly charge, causing Chief Blackwood's hair to stand on end. "Everyone out now!" Blackwood bellowed, ushering Dr. Chen and her staff towards the exit. "We don't know what this energy surge could do." As the room emptied, Wayne and Tina remained locked in their intimate fusion, oblivious to the chaos around them. Their bodies pulsed with a shimmering blue aura, growing brighter by the second. Blackwood hesitated at the doorway, torn between his duty to protect and the unknown dangers of the alien process unfolding before him. Suddenly, a blinding flash erupted from the entwined figures. Blackwood shielded his eyes, feeling a wave of energy wash over him. When he lowered his arm, the room was empty, save for a scorched circle on the floor where Wayne and Tina had stood. Dr. Chen pushed past him, rushing to the blackened spot with her handheld scanner. "Incredible," she breathed, analyzing the residual energy patterns. "They've actually done it, a successful FTL jump." In the main conference room, the anti-alien coalition militants kept their weapons trained on the Earth diplomats. UN Secretary-General Maria Santos sat rigidly in her chair, her eyes darting between her captors, searching for any opportunity to act. Without warning, the air in the center of the room began to ripple and distort. A flash of blue light momentarily blinded everyone present. As vision returned, gasps of shock echoed through the room. Wayne and Princess Tina stood where empty space had been seconds before, their bodies still crackling with ethereal energy. Taking advantage of the militants' surprise, Wayne sprang into action. He moved with inhuman speed, crossing the distance to the nearest attacker in the blink of an eye. With precise movements, he disarmed the man, using the captured weapon to knock him unconscious. Princess Tina raised her hands, her alien features set in concentration. Waves of bioelectric energy pulsed from her fingertips, arcing through the air to strike several militants. They convulsed and dropped, their nervous systems overloaded by the alien assault. Secretary General Santos seized the moment. "Now!" she shouted to her fellow diplomats. As one, they rose and tackled their distracted captors. Wayne whirled through the fray, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to dodge bullets and land devastating blows. He caught a glimpse of Tina across the room, her tall form bending in impossible ways to evade attacks and incapacitate militants with graceful efficiency. As Wayne grappled with a particularly stubborn attacker, he felt a surge of strength course through his muscles. With a grunt, he lifted the man bodily and hurled him across the room, surprised by his own newfound power. The doors to the conference room burst open, revealing Chief Blackwood and a team of UN security forces. They joined the melee, quickly subduing the remaining militants. In mere minutes, the hostage situation was over. Wayne stood in the center of the room, breathing heavily, surrounded by unconscious bodies and grateful diplomats. He locked eyes with Princess Tina, feeling a spark of connection that went beyond the physical. Dr. Chen rushed in, medical team in tow. "We need to examine you both immediately," she insisted, her scanner already whirring as she approached Wayne and Tina. As Chen conducted her initial scans, her eyes widened in astonishment. "This is unprecedented," she murmured, looking from her readings to Wayne and back again. "Your DNA shows clear signs of Arcturian integration. And Princess Tina, your biological structure has partially adapted to human genetic patterns." Wayne flexed his hand, marveling at the residual strength he felt coursing through his body. "What does this mean for us?" he asked, glancing at Tina. Before Chen could respond, a commotion at the entrance drew everyone's attention. An imposing figure ducked through the doorway, his deep blue skin gleaming under the fluorescent lights. King Zorn, father of Princess Tina and leader of the Arcturian delegation, had arrived. His piercing gaze swept the room before settling on his daughter and Wayne. "What have you done?" he demanded, his melodious voice tinged with a mix of concern and anger. Princess Tina stepped forward, her posture straight and regal despite the recent battle. "Father, I can explain—" She was cut off by a sudden gasp from Wayne. A flood of alien thoughts and emotions washed over him, and he realized with a start that he could hear Tina's voice in his mind. "We can communicate telepathically," Tina's thoughts echoed in his head, a mixture of wonder and apprehension coloring her mental voice. As Wayne and Tina grappled with this new development, they found themselves at the center of a growing storm of political and scientific interest. UN officials huddled with Arcturian diplomats, speaking in urgent whispers. Dr. Chen coordinated with her team, preparing for more in-depth examinations of the fused pair. Through it all, Wayne and Princess Tina remained connected, their shared genetic structure opening up new realms of intimacy and understanding. Yet as they reveled in their deepening bond, they couldn't shake the feeling that their actions had set in motion events that would reshape the future of both their species. King Zorn's commanding voice cut through the chaos of the room. "I demand a full explanation of this unauthorized fusion," he stated, his eyes locked on Wayne and Tina. The implications of this event reach far beyond a simple hostage rescue. As all eyes turned to them, Wayne and Princess Tina knew they stood at a crossroads. Their next words and actions would not only determine their personal futures, but potentially the course of human-Arcturian relations for generations to come. Come? The tension in the room was palpable as King Zorn's penetrating gaze swept over Wayne and Princess Tina. "Father," Tina began again, her voice steady despite the tumultuous emotions Wayne could sense through their newfound mental link. "We had no choice. The hostage situation demanded immediate action." King Zorn's antenna twitched, a sign of agitation that Wayne had come to recognize during their diplomatic encounters. "No choice," he repeated, his melodious voice tinged with disbelief. "You have violated our most sacred laws, Tina. The consequences of this fusion are beyond measure." Before Tina could respond, UN Secretary-General Maria Santos stepped forward, her posture radiating authority despite her diminutive stature. "Your Majesty," she addressed King Zorn, "while I understand your concerns, I must point out that Princess Tina's actions, unconventional as they may be, have saved lives and prevented a diplomatic catastrophe." King Zorn's attention shifted to the Secretary-General, his expression unreadable. "Be that as it may, Madam Secretary, this unauthorized fusion poses significant risks to both our peoples. I demand that my daughter return to Arcturia immediately for a full examination and—" He paused, his gaze flickering to Wayne. "Potential separation procedures." Wayne felt a jolt of fear course through him, both his own and Tina's. The thought of being separated after experiencing such profound connection was almost unbearable. "With all due respect, Your Majesty," Dr. Chen interjected, her scanner still humming as she continued to analyze Wayne and Tina. "Any attempt at separation could be extremely dangerous. The changes to their physiology are extensive and ongoing. We need time to study and understand what's happened before we can even consider such a procedure." As the arguments escalated, Wayne became aware of a commotion outside the conference room. Through the windows, he could see crowds gathering, their chants muffled by the thick glass. Some waved signs welcoming the Arcturians, while others bore slogans denouncing alien presence on Earth. "The situation is rapidly spiraling out of control," Chief Blackwood muttered, his hand pressed to his earpiece as he received updates from his security team. "We need to move you all to a secure location immediately." As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the complex. Blackwood's communicator crackled with urgent reports of cyber attacks hitting Earth's defense systems. "It's the anti-alien coalition," Blackwood growled, his face grim. "They're exploiting the chaos. We need to move. Now! In the ensuing rush to evacuate, Wayne found himself separated from Princess Tina. He reached out with his mind, relieved to feel her presence even as the physical distance between them grew. Stay calm, Tina's thoughts echoed in his head. We'll find each other soon. As Wayne was ushered into an armored vehicle alongside Dr. Chen and several UN officials, he caught a glimpse of King Zorn and Princess Tina being escorted to an Arcturian shuttle. The sight filled him with a mix of anxiety and determination. The convoy sped through the streets of New York, weaving through throngs of protesters and curious onlookers. Wayne's enhanced senses picked up fragments of conversations, the air thick with tension and speculation about the events unfolding. Where are we going? Wayne asked Dr. Chen, who sat across from him, her fingers flying over a tablet as she compiled her initial findings. A secure medical facility outside the city, she replied without looking up. We need to conduct more thorough examinations on you, and it's the safest place given the current climate. As they left the urban sprawl behind, Wayne's thoughts turned to Princess Tina. Their mental connection remained strong, a comforting presence amid the chaos. He could sense her mixture of concern for their situation and excitement about the possibilities their fusion had unlocked. The facility loomed ahead, a nondescript building surrounded by high fences and armed guards. As they pulled into an underground garage, Wayne steeled himself for what lay ahead. He knew that the tests and examinations to come would be grueling, but they were necessary to understand the full extent of the changes he and Tina had undergone. What he couldn't have anticipated, however, was the political storm brewing above ground. As he was led into a state-of-the-art medical bay, debates were raging in the hastily convened UN Security Council meeting. The fate of human Arcturian relations hung in the balance, with Wayne and Princess Tina at the very center of the maelstrom. Hours passed in a blur of scans, blood draws, and increasingly astonishing discoveries. Dr. Chen's team worked tirelessly, their excitement growing with each new piece of data. It's remarkable, Dr. Chen murmured, reviewing a holographic display of Wayne's cellular structure. Your body is exhibiting enhanced strength, accelerated healing, and look at this. She pointed to a pulsing area in the display. You're generating small amounts of bioelectric energy, similar to the Arcturians. Wayne flexed his hand, feeling the newfound power coursing through his veins. What about Tina? He asked, concern coloring his voice. Dr. Chen's expression softened. She's undergoing similar examinations in the Arcturian medical bay. From what I've been told, she's showing increased resistance to Earth's gravity and atmospheric conditions. It seems your fusion has made her more compatible with our world. Before Wayne could respond, the door to the medical bay slid open, revealing Chief Blackwood. His expression was grim as he addressed Dr. Chen. We've got a situation. The anti-alien coalition has launched another wave of cyber attacks. Our defense systems are struggling to keep up. Wayne sat up, his body tensing for action. What can we do? Blackwood shook his head. For now, you stay here. We can't risk exposing you until we understand the full extent of your changes. He turned to leave, then paused. There's something else you should know. Princess Tina's sisters have approached the UN with a proposal. They're suggesting a diplomatic marriage between you and Tina to solidify the alliance between Earth and Arcturia. Wayne's mind reeled at this news, a mixture of shock and an unexpected thrill coursing through him. He reached out mentally to Tina, sensing her own surprise and conflicting emotions. As Blackwood left to coordinate the defense efforts, Wayne felt a sudden surge of energy. His skin began to glow faintly, the bioelectric field around him intensifying. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as her instruments registered the spike in energy. Wayne, she said cautiously, what's happening? Before he could answer, Wayne felt a powerful pull, as if the very fabric of space was bending around him. In a flash of blue light, he vanished from the medical bay, leaving behind a stunned Dr. Chen and a room full of bewildered scientists. Moments later, Wayne rematerialized in an unfamiliar location. As his vision cleared, he found himself face to face with Princess Tina, her large eyes wide with surprise and recognition. They had somehow activated their shared FTL ability, reuniting despite the physical distance between them. As they reached for each other, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Through the windows, Wayne could see figures in black tactical gear swarming the perimeter. The anti-alien coalition had launched their attack, and Wayne and Princess Tina found themselves at the heart of the conflict, their newfound abilities about to be put to the ultimate test. With their newfound abilities and the fate of two worlds hanging in the balance, Wayne and Princess Tina braced themselves for the impending confrontation. The laboratory doors burst open, revealing Commander Stryker and his elite squad, their weapons trained on the human Arcturian pair. Stryker's eyes narrowed as he took in the sight of Wayne and Tina, their bodies pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "Surrender now," Stryker growled, his finger tightening on the trigger of his advanced energy rifle. "You abominations have no place in our world." Wayne and Tina exchanged a glance, their telepathic link buzzing with shared drive. In that instant, they tapped into their full combined power. A blinding blue light erupted from their bodies, momentarily disorienting Stryker and his team. Before the anti-alien coalition forces could react, Wayne and Tina vanished in a flash of light, their shared FTL ability instantly teleporting them behind their attackers. Caught off guard, Stryker's squad spun around, only to find themselves face-to-face with the empowered pair. Wayne's enhanced strength came to the fore as he disarmed the nearest soldier with lightning speed, tossing the weapon aside and incapacitating him with a precisely delivered blow. Beside him, Tina unleashed a barrage of bioelectric blasts, shorting out the energy weapons of two more attackers. As the skirmish intensified, Wayne felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. Instinctively, he raised his hands, and to his amazement, a shimmering force field materialized around him and Tina. The protective barrier deflected a volley of energy bolts fired by the remaining coalition forces. "Wayne, look out!" Tina's voice rang in his mind as she spotted a flanking maneuver by two of Stryker's men. Reacting with newfound agility, Wayne extended the force field, enveloping their would-be ambushers and rendering them immobile. Tina capitalized on their predicament, using her enhanced bioelectric powers to target the enemy's weapons with pinpoint accuracy, causing them to short-circuit and become useless. Commander Stryker, realizing his team was outmatched, reached for a device on his belt. "This isn't over," he snarled, activating what appeared to be a personal teleportation unit. As Stryker's form began to shimmer, Wayne and Tina locked eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. In perfect synchronization, they activated their shared FTL ability, vanishing from the laboratory just as Stryker initiated his escape. The world around them blurred into a kaleidoscope of light and energy as they entered the space between jumps. Ahead, they could see Stryker's distorted form, struggling against the unfamiliar currents of FTL travel. With a burst of concentration, Wayne and Tina surged forward, their combined power allowing them to navigate this strange realm with ease. They materialized in a nondescript corridor, Stryker stumbling as his teleportation was interrupted. Before he could regain his balance, Wayne's enhanced reflexes allowed him to subdue the coalition leader, pinning him against the wall. "It's over, Stryker," Wayne said, his voice carrying a newfound authority. The sound of running footsteps echoed through the corridor as Chief Blackwood and his security team rounded the corner, weapons at the ready. Their eyes widened at the sight of Wayne and Tina standing over the captured Stryker. "Impeccable timing," Tina communicated telepathically to Wayne, a hint of amusement in her mental voice. As Blackwood's team took Stryker into custody, a commotion at the far end of the corridor drew their attention. King Zorn strode towards them, flanked by a contingent of Arcturian royal guards. His expression was a mix of concern and amazement as he took in the scene before him. "Father," Tina began, stepping forward to address the Arcturian king. King Zorn held up a hand, silencing her. His gaze swept over Wayne and Tina, noting the seamless way they moved in tandem, the shared energy that seemed to flow between them. After a moment of tense silence, he spoke. "I have witnessed your actions today," King Zorn said, his melodious voice carrying a note of grudging respect. "While I still have reservations about this fusion, I cannot deny its effectiveness." With a gesture, King Zorn signaled his royal guards. "Assist Earth's security forces in securing this facility and repelling any remaining coalition forces, he commanded. As the combined human and Arcturian forces moved out to complete their task, UN Secretary-General Maria Santos approached, her face grave. "We need to address the political fallout from these events immediately," she said, addressing both King Zorn and Chief Blackwood. "I'm calling for an emergency summit to discuss the evolving human Arcturian situation." Wayne and Tina exchanged a glance, their telepathic link buzzing with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. They knew that their actions today, while necessary, had irrevocably altered the course of human Arcturian relations. As the group made their way to a secure conference room, reports began flooding in from around the globe. Anti-hybridization protests were erupting in major cities on Earth, while similar demonstrations were taking place on Arcturia. The delicate balance of interstellar diplomacy teetered on the edge of chaos. Dr. Emily Chen joined them, her tablet displaying a constant stream of data from her latest analysis of Wayne and Tina's genetic structure. Her eyes were wide with excitement as she gestured for everyone's attention. "You need to see this," she said, her voice barely containing her enthusiasm. "The hybrid DNA, it's stabilizing. We're looking at the potential birth of a new, viable human Arcturian species." The room fell silent as the implications of Dr. Chen's words sank in. Wayne and Tina stood at the center of it all, their hands intertwined, feeling the weight of two worlds resting on their shoulders. As the emergency summit prepared to convene, they knew that the decisions made in the coming hours would shape the future of both their species for generations to come. The weight of their responsibility settled heavily upon them as they entered the conference room, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. In the weeks that followed, Earth and Arcturia experienced unprecedented turmoil. Anti-hybridization riots erupted in major cities on both planets, forcing authorities to implement strict security measures. The decision to hold Wayne and Princess Tina's public bonding ceremony became a flashpoint for controversy, with supporters and detractors clashing in the streets. As the date of the ceremony approached, the chosen venue, a neutral space station orbiting Earth, was transformed into a fortress. Joint human Arcturian forces patrolled its corridors, their vigilance a testament to the gravity of the situation. In her lab aboard the station, Dr. Emily Chen worked tirelessly, analyzing the latest data from Wayne and Tina's genetic samples. Her eyes widened as she made a startling discovery. "This can't be right," she muttered, rechecking her results. But the evidence was undeniable. The hybrid DNA contained a unique protein structure that could potentially neutralize the deadly virus plaguing both human and Arcturian populations. Chen's fingers flew over her communication panel. "Chief Blackwood, I need to speak with you immediately. It's urgent." As Chen shared her findings with Blackwood and the diplomatic team, the implications became clear. The union of Wayne and Tina was no longer just a symbol of interspecies cooperation. It could be the key to saving millions of lives. Meanwhile, deep in the bowels of a high-security prison on Earth, Commander Stryker sat in his cell, his mind racing with plans. The guards outside his door never noticed the faint shimmer of an advanced cloaking device activating. In a matter of moments, Stryker vanished from his cell, leaving behind nothing but an empty room and a lot of questions. As preparations for the ceremony intensified, Wayne and Princess Tina found themselves immersed in traditional Arcturian purification rituals. Under the watchful eyes of Tina's sisters, Lyra and Nova, they faced a series of physical challenges and mental exercises designed to strengthen their bond. Wayne grunted as he lifted a glowing Arcturian stone, its weight far exceeding its size. Beside him, Tina gracefully manipulated a field of energy, her movements synchronized with his own. Suddenly, Wayne gasped. He could feel the strain in Tina's muscles as if they were his own. Their eyes met, a spark of understanding passing between them. "You felt that too?" Tina's voice echoed in his mind. Wayne nodded, marveling at this new facet of their connection. They could now share not just thoughts, but physical sensations as well. As the day of the ceremony arrived, King Zorn approached Wayne, his expression solemn. In his hands, he held an ancient crystal, its surface etched with intricate Arcturian symbols. "This artifact has been passed down through generations of Arcturian royalty," Zorn explained, his voice filled with reverence. When activated by the energy of a bonded pair, it is said to grant immense power. I believe it is time for you and Tina to be its guardians. Wayne accepted the crystal, feeling its latent energy pulse against his palm. As he turned to thank King Zorn, he caught sight of Tina entering the room, resplendent in her ceremonial attire, a fusion of human and Arcturian designs. His breath caught in his throat, their shared link buzzing with mutual admiration. The space station hummed with activity as guests began to arrive. Dignitaries from Earth mingled with representatives from various alien species, their chatter filling the air with a mix of languages and dialects. Security Chief Marcus Blackwood stood at his post, his eyes constantly scanning the crowd. A flashing light on his communicator caught his attention. With a frown, he activated the device. "Sir," came the urgent voice of his deputy, "long-range sensors have detected an anomaly approaching the station at high speed. It doesn't match any known signature." Blackwood's mind raced through the possibilities. Could it be Stryker? The escaped coalition leader had been suspiciously quiet since his breakout. "Increase security measures," Blackwood ordered, his voice low. "But keep it discreet. We don't want to alarm the guests." As the ceremony began, Wayne and Princess Tina made their way to the central chamber. The assembled crowd fell silent, all eyes fixed on the couple. As they exchanged vows, combining Earth and Arcturian traditions, their bodies began to glow with an intense blue light, a visible manifestation of their strengthening bond. Just as the officiator declared them united, the space station shook violently. Alarms blared throughout the structure, their shrill cries cutting through the once peaceful atmosphere. Outside, Commander Stryker's cloaked ships shimmered into view, their weapons already firing upon the station's outer defenses. Panic erupted among the guests as the first breaches were reported. Wayne and Tina locked eyes, their newly formed bond humming with shared determination. As one, they reached for the crystal artifact given by King Zorn. The moment their fingers touched its surface, the crystal pulsed with blinding energy, enveloping them in a protective field. Stryker's forces, equipped with advanced weaponry, began to pour into the station. Security forces engaged the invaders, the sound of energy weapons and shouts filling the air. Drawing on their combined strength and newfound abilities, Wayne and Tina moved through the chaos with superhuman speed and agility. They created force fields to protect groups of civilians, teleported short distances to outmaneuver attackers, and unleashed bursts of bioelectric energy against Stryker's forces. As the battle raged around them, Dr. Chen fought her way through the panicked crowd, clutching her equipment. She had to get closer to Wayne and Tina. The energy they were emitting could be the key to synthesizing the cure for the deadly virus. Wayne spotted Chen's approach and created a protective barrier around her. "Dr. Chen, what are you doing?" he shouted over the din of battle. "I need to analyze your energy signature," Chen replied, her fingers flying over her equipment. "It could be the key to saving millions of lives." Tina deflected an energy blast aimed at them, her eyes scanning the chaotic scene. "We'll protect you, Doctor. Do what you need to do." As Chen worked feverishly to capture and analyze the unique energy signature, Wayne and Tina continued to push back against Stryker's forces. The fate of Earth-Arcturian relations, the lives of countless dignitaries, and the potential cure for a devastating disease now all hinged on the outcome of this battle. Through their shared link, Wayne and Tina coordinated their movements with uncanny precision. They moved as one, their powers complementing each other perfectly. Yet as they fought, they could sense Stryker's presence growing closer. The true test of their newfound abilities was yet to come. As Wayne and Tina prepared to face their greatest challenge yet, the space station shuddered violently, rocked by another barrage from Stryker's forces. The couple exchanged a determined glance, their bond humming with shared drive. Without a word, they sprinted towards the central hub, where they sensed Stryker's presence growing stronger. As they burst through the doors of the hub, they were met with a scene of utter chaos. Stryker stood at the center, wielding a menacing weapon that pulsed with dark, swirling energy. The air crackled with tension as he turned to face them, a triumphant sneer on his face. "Ah, the lovebirds have arrived," Stryker taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. just in time to witness the end of your pitiful alliance. Wayne and Tina moved in perfect synchronization, their bodies glowing with the blue energy of their bond. Stryker unleashed a devastating blast from his weapon, the dark matter energy tearing through the air towards them. In an instant, Wayne and Tina raised their hands in unison. A shimmering blue force field materialized before them, absorbing the brunt of Stryker's attack. The energy dissipated against their shield, but the strain was evident on their faces. "We need to end this quickly," Tina communicated telepathically to Wayne. "The station can't take much more of this." Wayne nodded imperceptibly, his mind already formulating a plan. "On my mark, we use our FTL ability. Ready?" As Stryker prepared to launch another attack, Wayne gave the mental signal. In a blur of motion, the couple vanished, only to reappear milliseconds later on the opposite side of the room. They continued this rapid teleportation, their forms flickering in and out of existence around Stryker. Confusion clouded Stryker's face as he struggled to track their movements. His weapon swung wildly, dark matter blasts scorching the walls of the hub, but missing their targets entirely. Seizing the moment of disorientation, Wayne and Tina struck. Wayne appeared directly in front of Stryker, delivering a precise blow that sent the weapon clattering to the ground. Before Stryker could react, Tina materialized behind him, her hands crackling with bioelectric energy. "This ends now," she declared, unleashing a focused blast that enveloped Stryker in a web of blue lightning. Stryker's body convulsed as the energy coursed through him, his eyes rolling back in his head. With a final, strangled gasp, he collapsed to the floor, unconscious and thoroughly defeated. The silence that followed was deafening. Wayne and Tina stood over Stryker's prone form, their chests heaving from exertion. Through their link, they could feel each other's relief and exhaustion. A crackle of static broke the quiet as Chief Blackwood's voice came over the station's intercom system. "Stryker's forces are surrendering. The station is secure. Well done, you two." Wayne and Tina shared a small smile, but their work was just getting started. Turning their attention to the damaged station, they clasped hands, channeling the energy of their bond and the ancient Arcturian crystal. A soft blue glow emanated from their joined hands, spreading outward in pulsating waves. As the energy washed over the station, breaches in the hull sealed themselves, damaged systems came back online, and the chaotic hum of alarms faded into silence. As the immediate crisis subsided, Dr. Chen approached the couple, her eyes wide with excitement. "I've done it," she exclaimed, holding up a vial of shimmering liquid. "Using the energy signature from your bond, I've synthesized a prototype cure for the virus. It's already being uploaded to medical databases on Earth and Arcturia." Wayne and Tina exchanged a look of wonder, the full impact of their union beginning to sink in. Their bond had not only saved the station, but could potentially save millions of lives across two worlds. The doors to the central hub slid open, revealing UN Secretary-General Maria Santos and King Zorn. They surveyed the scene before them, the unconscious form of Stryker, the newly repaired station, and Wayne and Tina standing at the center of it all, their bodies still glowing faintly with residual energy. "It seems," King Zorn began, his voice filled with a mixture of pride and awe, "that we have much to discuss about the future of our peoples." As the assembled dignitaries began to gather in the hub, now transformed from a battlefield into an impromptu council chamber, Wayne and Tina stood side by side, their hands intertwined. They knew that the challenges they had faced were only the beginning, but together they were ready to face whatever the future might hold. The space station, once on the brink of destruction, now orbited Earth peacefully, a silent witness to the dawn of a new era in human-Arcturian relations. As Wayne and Tina prepared to address the gathered representatives, they shared a private moment through their telepathic link, their thoughts filled with hope for the bright future that lay ahead.
If you finished this story, please subscribe and like the video. Then leave a comment that says, "I liked the story," and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.